Hello, this is Zoe Felder, Vice President of IMAV STEM Outreach Program Corporation, and today I'll be showing how we do a 3D print. So to start, I'm in my CAD design software. I'm using SpaceClaim today, and for our geometry, we're going to make a simple cube. So we can drag this out, put 2 inches here, and then 2 inches here. So we're going to have a 2 inch by 2 inch cube. To make this a cube, we're going to take the surface and extrude it up 2 inches. And here's our simple cube. So now we're going to save this. And we'll save this as CAD print. And now that we have our cube, what we're going to do is change this solid body into facets. So in SpaceClaim, the way to do that is to click the Facets tab up here. Then you can click your body in the tree, hit convert, it'll convert it to facets. Now we can save this as an STL. And you can save it as an STL directly, but I like to do the full process. So I'm going to name this CAD print STL. Now, what we can do is go into our slicer program for our 3D printer. And for our slicer program, we are using XYZ Ware. We have an XYZ printer, a Da Vinci Jr. color mix, which uses 2 different color filament and mixes them in one extruder. So now we are in our slicer software, XYZ Ware for our printer here at IMAV. And what we're going to do is go into import and navigate to our folder with our STL that we want to import, which is our CAD print STL right here. And import in inches because we made it in inches. So here's our 2 by 2 by 2 inch cube. And if you can see, on the side here, we have colors. So one way for this printer to mix colors is to use this gradient option where you can choose an in-between color and you can determine where that begins, where it ends. You can change the shade. So if you can see here, we have green to a darker green and straight into black, or you can make it a smoother gradient if you want. And this line here determines where that color gradient starts. This color mix option is just mixing the colors into one solid blended color, which you can also do. The printer bed here is 6 inch by 6 inch. It's pretty small, but what we can do, if the program will allow me, it's kind of a pain. Okay, so we can move this block around. And I want to put him in that corner over there at the edge of the print bed because I'm going to put in another cube. And see how it's interfering, and it'll tell you when it's interfering. So I need to move this guy over here and press land, which will bring him up on the print bed. There you go. So if you can tell, this block in the upper left corner will be a blended color. This block down here going to see if I can make him gradient, if possible. Sometimes this software is a little fickle. Well, we'll find out. So we can hit preview to see what happens here. It changed both blocks. That's okay. I'm gonna make this darker. And then hit preview again. There we go, something a little bit more noticeable. Actually, I'm gonna bring it down here. There we go. Here's a clearer gradient. Okay, I like this one. So this block back here, I can change him back to the blended color. This guy can make him a darker green. But I can make, I think I'm going to do this. I'm gonna have 2 green to black gradient cubes. I think that looks pretty cool. So these Da Vinci Jr. Color Mix printers do have wireless capability, so I can wirelessly transmit my print to the printer. But today, I'm going to show how to export so that you can put this print on different SD cards and then load them into several different printers at the same time. So now that I have my print and my colors and the gradient that I want and the arrangement on the bed plate here, I can hit export. And then here you have a bunch of options. And hit advanced, you have even more options. You can change the quality, which changes several different options down here. So you see it changed on normal, went to fast, on good, standard, on excellent, it's slow. The infill density changed as well. So I just want a normal print, nothing too fancy. I can also change the temperature of the hot end if I wanted to, and the retract length and retract speed, but we're not going to mess with that today. So I can export, and I'm put it in my folder. And so now it's sliced it, and this little window here actually shows all your settings and estimated usage of the filament and how long it'll take to print. So this one says it'll take 3 hours. It may or may not. This estimated time is can actually be shortened. It just depends on the printer and how well it's doing. So if you can see here, you can see that it sliced up our model into layers. And these layers are what the printers will print. So now I'm going to put this file on an SD card and load it into the printer and show you what that setup looks like. So here's our Da Vinci Jr. Color Mix printer. And here's our SD card that we put our print on. So we load it into the printer right in here. Let's press it in. And then I have loaded the black filament and green filament, and you can see how they are routed into this single extruder here. And so let me close the door. So now you can see we have build from SD card. I'm going to go in here, it'll read, and ours is the CAD print STL. So start building, yes. It'll check the file and then it'll start the print. So this print said it'll take 3 hours. It may or may not take 3 hours. But when it is done, I'll show the results and you'll see the gradient and how well it does the gradient that we put in the print file. And this is how you start a print. This is a check-in. Looks like 2 hours later, according to the printer. And it is almost done. So that 3-hour estimate time for this print was pretty accurate. Most times it is, usually. But when it did start, this did say like 7 hours, and that was very concerning, but obviously it corrected itself. And from here you can actually start to see that gradient coming in. So we'll check back in when it's completely done. Here are our finished blocks. The nice black and green gradient going on. They look really good. And we did them in one day. So now I'm going to remove these and then we'll get some final shots. So here are the cubes, and here you can see that gradient that it attempted, and I think it did decently well. So that's kind of the interesting thing about the printer. You can do gradients on your 3D prints. That's why we really like these, and it came out pretty good. And in the next video, I'm going to show how to use calipers, which is a measuring device, is a measuring tool that you may encounter, and I'll use them on these cubes to verify that these are actually 2 inch by 2 inch by 2 inch cubes, and we will see the tolerance on the actual size of our cube.